familiar with the boards, they should be able to tell you, you know, maybe there's a few additional classes that you would need if you went to a non-accredited school, I don't know, but it's just good to kind of get that clarification up front.
And there's certain internships that you're not eligible to get if you're not in an APA accredited school. And in fact, APA also accredits certain internships. California is a little unique in that there are quite a few non-APA accredited internships that are available here. A lot of California grad students take advantage of those. In fact, USF's internships are not currently APA accredited, they might become so. But that means then you can't apply to APA accredited postdocs if you didn't do an APA accredited pre-doc, and you can't work with the VA if you haven't done an APA. So, you know, as long as you kind of know what you want to do, that will help with some of these decisions. But there aren't too many reasons why you shouldn't, why it's better not to be at an APA accredited school unless you're interested in really alternative forms of psychology and just don't want to go through mainstream type of program.
I have a question. Dr. Holcomb, you mentioned personal statements earlier. Could each of you just give a few tips about do's and don'ts of personal statements, especially regarding length? I know that each program typically has a slightly different length, but it's a good idea to start with a base personal statement and edit it for each program, or what would you recommend around the whole topic?
I think some of the things that she mentioned I thought were quite good, actually. You know, I don't think that you want to, as she said, lecture, you know, whoever's the reader on why they should take you. You don't want to come across that way. I thought that was very good, actually. And when I read personal statements, and Brian overwhelms me with all kinds of them, but when I read personal statements, I want to pick out several different things. First of all, is the person, you know, first and foremost, is the person mentally healthy? Because if we take people into our program that are not mentally healthy, then, you know, I don't care what their grades are, they're not going to make it. They're going to have personal issues that will keep them from staying focused. So I look at that, you know, are they mentally healthy? And you can tell from a personal statement sometimes if a person is not. I'm not sure you can tell whether they are, but you can tell if they're not sometimes. And then second, you know, I want to know if the person is inquisitive, if they want to know about things. I'm not necessarily turned on by a statement like I want to help people. We all want to help people. I don't know why I'm like that. But if that is the center of a personal statement, and they don't talk to me about their other kinds of goals of going to school, then I think that's kind of myopic, and so I'm a little troubled about maybe whether they've really assessed what they want to do with their lives. So whether they're mentally healthy, whether they're able to stay focused, whether they're able to make a commitment, those are the kinds of things that I want to see, you know, jump off the pages. So. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
What can someone say in their personal statement that makes you think that they're mentally healthy?
Well, believe it or not, you know, some people will go into, you know, how many times they've been in mental hospitals and they've been in prison and, you know, are on parole right now, but you know, they think this will turn around their lives, or even statements. And I think some disclosure is okay. But you know, all of us, I mean, if we run into somebody on the bus that over-discloses, you know, I mean, we say, ooh, you know, this person is not what I want to be around. And so you get the same flavor, I think, when you read a personal statement. I mean, there has to be the right amount of disclosure to show that the person is open and that they've really considered the commitment that they have to make to do well. But again, if they have as the focus of their personal statement all of these personal issues, and that they want to kind of undo those issues by going into psychology or learn how to help other people not get into the same fixes that they got into, then you really wonder if they really considered the, you know, the pros and cons of dedicating themselves to this kind of career. Does that help?
Yeah. I've definitely seen statements like that, and one was okay, they transitioned it okay because they talked about steps that they took in order to become a healthy individual. whereas the other person wasn't able to, they were too fresh and probably still needing quite a bit of counseling, and they weren't able to talk about how they turned it around or what steps they've taken that are constructive. So you can just kind of tell, you know, where a person's at based on if they're disclosing too much, like you said, or if they have no idea, you know, what makes a healthy person. So it happens.
I actually look at personal statements quite carefully. I don't know how important they are, but I really do, because, I mean, emotional maturity is very, very important for somebody getting a doctorate. I mean, they have to be willing to commit, you know, 4 years and a lot of money, and so you want to get a sense of whether they're healthy enough to make that commitment, and also whether they have the support to make that commitment. I look for that as well, and I like statements like, you know, my parents support me, or, you know, my husband is supportive of me, or my wife is supportive of me, and, you know, I've done these things in my life to make this a focus in my life. I like that kind of stuff. So.
And think about the program you're applying to. You know, you wouldn't really want to talk about drug and alcohol problem necessarily to relate to the specialty area you were pursuing. You know, so.
Yes, I've heard that similar advice that, you know, a lot of people are drawn to the field of psychology because they've overcome some kind of struggle, or they've had a friend or a family member that has overcome some kind of struggle, and yeah, but talking about that too much or making that the focus of your statement, yeah, it doesn't really come across that well, and I think it's a tricky issue to be able to do that in a way that does come across well.
So we talked about like red flags for yourself. What about red flags for a school? Like when you're looking for somewhere to apply, what are some things, like you said that you didn't choose one of your the schools that you initially thought. What were some things that you just were like, oh, okay, out here, that you would want to recommend people?
Well, the APA accreditation is definitely a big one for me, and I don't know, it's really kind of red flags. I mean, I guess part of what I did as research was I went on, at the time, TribeNet, this was before Facebook took off, and I found some groups of people that went to schools I was applying to, and I contacted people through that and said, what do you think of the school? Do you like it? What are the pros and cons? You know, for me, I think personal experience is really important to actually talk to people who have gone to a school. And that was helpful. And I think if a person had told me, I mean, the school that I rejected, there were a number of factors. You know, one was that I made an appointment to come see the school. I flew in from the East Coast, not specifically to see the school, but to see a number of schools. Drove from the airport right to the school. And when I arrived, the person I was meeting with said, oh, you know, that person left for the day. And I was like, well, I just flew in from the East Coast. You know, I mean, I didn't say I'm here to see a bunch of schools. You know, I said I flew here to come visit your school. And I had an appointment that I made several weeks ago. And they're like, oh, well, I'm sorry, you know, we can't do anything about it now. And so, you know, that obviously made a pretty bad impression. And because there were other schools that I found equally interesting and compelling, and I had a much better experience visiting the schools, and the people that I met with were there and were helpful. And you know, I said, well, why bother with this school? It's not the kind of place that I want to be. But I think that hopefully that's an exception of experiences.
Yeah, for me, the APA was also, that was pretty much, well, that was one of the only instant no's for a school for me. The other thing is just, you know, your interest, what you want to do. If you are like really interested in doing research in social psych, and there's no opportunity to do research in social psych at that school, that should be a no for you. Other than that, I feel like things are pretty flexible, and you know, different people have different experiences at, you know, different schools.